Hi, this is Epic Groupcast. I'm Anthony.
I'm Steven.
Hey guys, it's Jordan.
And I'm Lawrence.
And today we're going to be talking about Man of Steel. So we've got people representing our movie cast and our comic cast present since this is a comic book movie. Does anyone have any thoughts on the film?
I think we overall, everyone enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I think we should start with a spoiler alert because we will
spoiler
probably get quite in depth about some of the stuff that happens in the movie.
Okay. Well, let's put it in like a gap and then we'll...
Well, I'll tell you what, our spoiler-free review, let's just do like a short little couple minutes of what, did you enjoy it, did you like it, did you not?
General
General
opinion.
Spoiler, like
then
if you haven't seen it, you want to know, go watch it.
check
You
it
think,
out.
you think we can pull that off? A short little...
Yeah.
It's fun. Superman flies. That's awesome. Superman punches things.
stuff.
That's
Hits
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Superman looks pretty bamp throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
The one thing I really do like about this movie, for what little dialogue there is, it does portray women in a pretty strong sense. I mean,
Yeah.
like, there's a female Kryptonian that he has to fight, and she's not only, like, attractive, but really, really powerful. Like,
Yeah. Awesome fighter.
awesome, like a true soldier. Like, I'll do whatever it takes if I need to.
Yeah. She's a
And
warrior.
Amy Adams as Lois Lane she's pretty good. I mean,
She's your go-getter.
yeah, like
She
for
got after it.
as little as she had to work with, she did really well, I thought.
Yeah, like, I like the Lois character, like how strong she was in the movie, you know, but it's hard for me to believe Amy Adams in that role, you know.
I feel like if she had,
But I think it was well written, and I think she did a good job.
I feel like if she had more substance to kind of chew on, it would have been much better. Because
Yeah,
like
shit.
you see her in like serious films, and she's really good.
Right, and she just didn't have time to
Yeah.
expand anything, so
Yeah.
she just... It's like you said, with what she had, she, did a really good job.
Yeah.
I loved Krypton in this film. This is the Krypton I've wanted to see.
Yeah.
It looked really cool.
It was really cool.
The Kryptonian technology that I wanted to see since Superman Returns. I mean, I was hoping to see some of that in there, and
No crystals.
no crystals.
No crystals.
Drop crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
dig it.
glad we
It was
stepped away
action-packed.
from the first Donner film.
It was cool, and I totally dug the brief picture we got of Krypton, of like what it was and
Yeah.
why they are at the end of their days. Like, that was really
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
I dug it.
Yeah, I got to see some political stuff in there, the politics of Krypton.
I thought Henry Cavill I thought he was a really good Superman.
Yeah.
I thought he looked both like Christopher Reeve at times and Tom Welling.
I thought
Whenever
he
his hair was all messed up,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
times, he really reminded me of Tom Welling. I didn't realize this till the second time I watched it, how big he was.
Yeah.
He is
Huge.
Like,
so
especially like
big.
Yeah.
when he's at the grave or what. Well, let's save this we need to start the spoiler film.
All right, yeah.
Just check it
Like,
out.
thumbs up, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
I say go
All
watch
around
it.
the
Go see
table,
it.
watch
It's
it.
fun.
Without his shirt, like this, when he's running around without his shirt,
Yeah,
he's
let's
huge.
take some extended time and talk about him without his shirt.
We should, because he's a hairy man. Like
He's hairy, but his
they
boobs
didn't-
were massive, though.
They didn't
Yeah.
wax Superman's chest. They're like, no,
They
he's
shouldn't
going
have
to be a
to.
manly man.
It's because of the yellow
Like, he
sun.
was-
I remember
Hair.
that. Like, there are parts in that movie where you see him with the suit on, and then like there's like chest hair like
Yeah.
jumping out of it, and like there are times where I'm like, that's really like there. I
It's-
can't
yeah,
look
yeah,
away from it
it's
right
coming
now.
through, too.
Yeah.
Should have did 3D.
I liked it.
I want to feel his chest hair. When he saves me, I want to put my face on it.
Just on the cushion
Snuggle up.
of Henry Cavill.
And his
So,
arms are just massive.
so
I mean,
basically, our spoiler-free review, we all liked it
yes.
and really,
Yeah.
yes,
Overall-
really loved it. So
overall,
definitely
I
go
enjoyed
see
it.
it.
Definitely should see it.
Also, see it twice because I really enjoyed it the second time more than I did the first time.
Yeah, you pick up on a lot more stuff on the
Right.
second viewing.
I'm sure.
Like,
It's well worth the second.
the first time I was like, some of it was so fast. I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then the second
yeah.
viewing, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and it's just on the go from the get-go. So
Yeah, it's so
to
fast-paced,
keep up with
so-
it, it's tiring. And
so quick.
I mean, it's amazing because you love it, but
So definitely go see it. Get
Yeah.
some tickets and enjoy with some popcorn.
It did not seem like 2.5 hours.
No,
you know, I mean,
no.
it was quick.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
Yeah, like there were some scenes that I was just like, oh man.
there were a
come on.
couple times like
But-
this movie does flashbacks, so it's not like The first half of the movie
It's
is
not
whenever
linear.
he's a
Right.
kid, and the second half is when he's
I
an
know,
adult.
and I
It's-
love that
right.
they didn't do that. I'm
Yeah,
so
I'm,
glad.
I'm a big fan of that, and I
Yeah.
like the flashbacks, but there were a couple times where, like, the flashbacks really pulled the pacing back.
Right.
And it's
But that's still much better than the first 45 minutes.
Right,
You're
instead
like,
of having to fight
"Oh,
through that first
come
45 minutes of,
on."
I get it, he's going to grow up to be
we're gonna
cool.
break it
Yeah.
down into manageable
Right.
chunks, and then,
Right.
you know, so it's not just all depressing at once.
yeah. No, I agree.
That's good. I like the way they did it.
Carrie Ferris. Oh my god.
We'll get into
Punch them
that.
in the face for that.
Why?
We don't need a nod to Carol Ferris because, and they've been really weird about if they're acknowledging if Green Lantern is a part of this universe yet. Like if Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern is going to be the Green Lantern for the Justice League movie,
Right?
and if that's the case, well then you've just shit on yourself.
No, because that's Carrie Ferris. That was just a nod. She's clearly not a CEO of a whatever aerospace company.
No, she just has the exact same like.
Last name. It's her cousin. It's her sister,
It's
like
her
Ginny
cousin.
Olsen.
Her last name's not Olsen though.
They never said Olsen in the movie.
They never said Olsen. It's just Ginny, intern Ginny. Yeah.
Is she not credited as it?
No, she's
No,
credited
it's
right
Ginny.
here. It's just Ginny.
Okay, spoiler alert. Again, everybody, we are going to be
Warning,
going
warning.
very in-depth.
All right, hold
about
on.
this.
This is our very, very spoiler-filled discussion of Man of Steel. The things that we liked, loved, and even hated about the film.
Let's just start at the beginning, if that's okay. Let's start at the beginning, go through it,
Well,
and then we'll talk about. We can talk about it as we get to the parts that you guys want
Right.
to talk about, or once we get done, then we can talk about like.
Oh,
big
that's
stuff.
that's totally fine. We
Okay.
start out on Krypton,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Yes.
yeah.
Honestly, like
I loved
from the
Krypton.
time that I heard Russell Crowe was going to be Jor-El, I was like, God, that's just the worst choice ever. I loved him in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like, he was
instantly
great.
amazing. And
Yeah.
yeah,
He's good.
and just as much of a tough guy as.
But here's something that bothers me about that scene too. Like, you know, you open up and Jor-El's going around doing the, you know, he's flying around on this bug bird thing. He does the swimming in the water,
That
you know,
way-
and then he fights with Zod. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you're telling us in this movie that people are bred for a specific purpose. This is their only purpose. But I'm a warrior
tough guy
scientist,
too,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, they talk in that movie that, and Zod brings it up near the end of like,
Right.
I was
He's like,
bred.
this is what I do.
Yeah, like,
I trained for this. You were
yeah,
farm.
and then like, and then
get
Jor-El was bred to essentially be a scientist.
Right.
And here you
The
are.
badass scientist.
Yeah.
but he's a rebel, so maybe he decided to learn
But he's
some
not
karate.
a rebel.
on
That's
this.
the thing. He's not a rebel.
But-
He's just like,
But here's the
I know
thing.
what's right, and you guys aren't listening.
Where do you,
He went and had a baby against their wishes.
right,
though.
that's true.
No. They never once said in that movie that natural childbirth was illegal.
right.
They said that it was not. It was to where they got to a point where no one could have kids again. Like they just physically couldn't do it. Like it was Children of Men, where no one could have
I don't
children
think
again.
it was a physical thing.
And
I think
so-
it was just they don't.
yeah, I took it as
It's like
they
a
did, they just
societal
didn't.
thing. I mean,
Oh,
they
see,
just
I-
don't
yeah.
do it.
I took it as they got to a point where they like just physically couldn't have
Right.
children
I don't
anymore,
know.
and
See,
so
I
they
didn't
took
take
it
it
as
that
a
way.
code
Case.
of the lineage of the
Mhm.
families and made children that way.
Yeah, see,
That's
I
the
didn't
way
get
I
that
took
at all.
it.
I just took it as like that we
I'd
don't
have
do
to
that
look back
anymore.
into it.
We
Yeah,
See, I
we-
haven't watched it twice like some of you guys have.
Right.
So.
But no, that makes sense though.
Yeah.
what Jordan said.
I mean, I
Makes
could
sense.
see
I
that.
never
I mean-
thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But
right,
Because-
but
because
if
my
that was the
thinking
case,
is-
then I think they would be making a so much bigger deal about the fact that she is pregnant.
Yeah,
you know,
the
Yeah,
marketing
and that's the
for-
thing is like,
but really they're
But-
just kind of on their own there. You know, like if this was the first Kryptonian childbirth in centuries, they said,
yeah.
and then like there would be a lot more people there, you
Well,
know,
I mean,
like
arguing
doctors
both-
and shit, making sure that this
Yeah.
baby was okay.
right.
Like the first child,
Yeah,
you know, like hey, this
encourage
is the
that
first one.
instead of
Yeah,
See,
but
that's
that's
what
why
they
I
did
think that
secret.
everyone could have kids. They just generally don't. That's why I think it's a society thing more than a physical.
By the way, your insect bird, I believe that is a Kryptonian flame dragon.
Okay,
Was what that was supposed to be a reference
Wow.
to.
good enough.
Flexing his nerd muscles.
This is
Yeah.
why you're in
Yeah.
the comic cast.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's what that was. There was
Well,
another
it
animal
was-
out there.
I
It
like
looks
to call
like a
it
yak.
badass
Yeah,
bug bird.
I don't. That's a good name too. But I forget what the other animal's
Bab.
name was. But I was so happy.
Jump on to ride my bab home.
I was so happy with the fact that they included Kelex. on Krypton that you
I
finally...
was kind of sad that he wasn't in the rest of the movie. Like, I hope
Me
that he
too.
was just gonna, like, show up and be, like, the Brainiac to his Fortress of Solitude. I'm using air quotes. You can't see.
That's
But-
perfectly acceptable for
Yeah.
for our show.
I just thought that'd be cool.
Yeah, I
don't know what Helix is.
the robot,
The robot
Jobot,
that-
Oh,
Jor-El's
okay.
robot that he's
He
talking
I
was,
didn't know
what's the maid robot in the Jetsons?
Rosie.
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 Yeah.
He's like, that's Rosie.
He's
See?
the Rosie equivalent.
I thought that maybe Laura's was the Rosie in the equation because she had one too.
It was
I think-
the same one.
No, she had Keelar. There's two different names. There's
Oh,
Kelex
really?
and Keelar.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you see both of them with her when she dies, but I'm not 100% sure.
I thought you only saw one, but that's also kind of depressing. Like, your planet is exploding and burning up to no end. You're just like, I'm just gonna let it happen.
I'm
Like,
just gonna stand here.
Yeah.
'cause-
Acceptance.
And was I wrong in thinking this? The only reason why Jor-El and Lara didn't go with him in this film is because they're Kryptonian and they feel tainted. I mean, he tells
yeah,
him
it's a
that
fresh
I
start
wish
kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wish I could have come with you, but there
We
was no
had our
way
chance.
because we're a product of Krypton.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that bothers me. Like, this, unlike the other Superman movies, they weren't like, Jor-El, you're a fool. This world's not going to blow up, you know? Like, they never once said that in this movie. So, like, so they kind of believed him, or at least they kind of knew that the world was ending.
But they were too stubborn
they're
to do
like-
anything about it.
And they talked about how they had all these colonies on other planets, you know, and they're like, yeah, rather than moving, let's just stay here. Like,
Well, they said that, like, he argues that
we
should...
had our chance.
Yeah, he argues, like, we should do what our ancestors did, like, take to the stars, find all
Right.
these colonies that we sent people out before, and they're like,
Right. Why
nah,
why
chilling.
send out all these colonies if that's not the point of this, is to
They pulled
find
them
a new
back.
planet.
Yeah.
They pulled back the colonies whenever they started.
Apparently not all of them, because Zod went to all the different
they were
worlds that
they
had
were all
colonies.
dead.
Yeah,
They
those
withered
ones were
and
all-
died.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
After-
withered and died after Krypton exploded, he said.
I'm pretty sure he was meaning that they withered and died without Krypton, without being connected to Krypton, while it was still
Yeah.
here. Because
Okay.
what they said
Like
is they pulled it back whenever they started genetically engineering their people. It was population control, so there was no
Yeah.
need for the colonies, so they just cut off.
Okay.
And so then those people died. It would have been the same thing had England stopped helping America.
Nice connection.
Metaphors are cool.
So Jor-El sends his only begotten son. Russell Crowe goes for a swim and grabs the skull.
Monkey skull.
codex.
The Codex.
Yeah.
The monkey skull.
it was.
But while we're down there, we get to see the Matrix.
That's
right. I know.
That's
I totally
right.
was like,
Yeah.
this is very Matrix-like.
We need some
Yeah.
spiders up in here.
Exactly.
we need
We need
spiders that pull
I know.
babies
That's
out
when
of
they should
robot
have. Yeah, that's when they
spiders.
should have added him in.
That would
Yeah.
make this scene complete.
That
Oh,
was
man.
that was the best way to do that. The thing that bugged me though with the Krypton is they launch the baby. He at the end of it he heads to Earth, and then you immediately cut to
Yeah.
the adult
It's a
Clark Kent.
rough
I'm cool with
transition.
that.
That it was a really rough cut. I just think it was
Yeah.
like had you not seen any of the commercials
Yeah. If you,
for it, you might have, or if you didn't know going in, you might have been a little confused as to why
yeah,
you're suddenly
my
on a fishing boat.
my girlfriend was completely confused why all of a sudden we were on a fishing boat with this guy.
Oh, these
like
Alaskan fishermen are going to
Which-
find the baby.
Yeah, which I mean, the majority of people would know.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've skipped ahead in time, but I agree with Anthony. I think it was a rough transition that maybe they could.
There was a
have
few
shown.
rough cuts in the movie, and they bothered me. That
I
just-
liked it because, like, I took it as like
I think it was
You're-
supposed to be disorienting. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that was the point. Was
Yeah.
to,
you're like you know nothing about this person. All you know is
Right.
that there is a child that's the last child of this dying world, and like now you meet this Clark Kent guy who doesn't know who he is, doesn't know what he is destined
Just
to
a
be.
grifter-
Like, yeah,
drifter.
he's a drifter that is
Yeah.
afraid to show the world what he's capable of doing because he thinks he's going to be shunned. Like I like that. I like that whole thing of like you're introduced to his character who you're not sure of the character, and the character himself isn't sure of himself. Like I like that.
I still
Yeah,
think
yeah,
they
it's
could
a
have
good
given me
story.
like a 20 years later. That would have been.
I don't even
Right.
think that you needed that, but I
No.
just
But-
it just
I mean,
it was
That's
just a
another
hard
thing.
transition.
They never really
That's
tell you
like
how old. Do they ever say how
mid
old?
90s.
right?
He's
I know,
33.
but you know.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
he had to be the same age as Jesus.
Yeah. That was
Like Superman is
There are-
Jesus in this
yeah.
movie.
There are
Like,
a lot of
that's
Jesus
true.
references in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But so we get to the fishing boat, and I'm going to mention one of my favorite
a
things.
33-year-old man with no credentials walks onto the Daily Planet meh.
Right.
That's the most unbelievable thing about this movie.
Everybody lies in their resumes.
That's right. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my favorite thing with the whole fishing boat is you go back to Nolan's Batman Begins. The very first time we see adult Bruce Wayne, full beard.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, very first time we see adult
That's what
Clark
happens
Kent,
when you travel. You don't shave.
Yeah.
full beard. No, I love it. I love it.
Full beard means you're a drifter. You
Oh,
don't,
yeah,
you
exactly.
don't stay in one
I'm dirty.
Yes,
and I don't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't have time to shave.
I literally loved that it
Plus,
was
it's
done
cold
the
out there.
same way.
You'd want the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You
You
know?
would. I'm
Yeah.
just glad they did it.
Yeah.
So then you go from there to immediately there's an emergency and
Right.
oil rig is on fire.
Yeah.
And they're
First on Earth action scene.
Yeah.
and it's
And it
pretty
was cool.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
You see him climb up the oil rig and catch it. as they're-
Immediately lose his shirt.
I know. I was
Yeah.
gonna say you just see those boobies at work.
Yeah, he is
Those pecs saved
ripped.
the world right there.
That's
Yes. Yes, but it was an amazing scene to see his strength, and then
right. Yeah.
the weight is buckling down
On the,
what he's
the
standing
beam
on.
that he's on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. He's
I
got
thought it was good.
some weird facial acting. Like he makes some funny faces in the movie. Like
See,
I noticed that 3 or 4 times. I'm like, that was a weird facial choice.
I don't really hold that against actors so much
Yeah.
anymore because
Well,
I mean
it's tough. I mean,
you're holding up
Yeah.
a CG thing.
Exactly.
And I'm sure what he's really doing is like this cardboard.
Yeah.
so
thing.
socks or
Styrofoam.
something.
Yeah, we're gonna give you
Yeah.
the swimming noodle. Now pretend
hope-
like
yeah.
it's
Pretend like it's
You know?
thousands and
Okay,
thousands
let
of
me just
pounds.
Give us you're taking a poop
Strange.
face.
Yeah.
We'll go from there.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, it was.
News.
I'm trying to squeeze one out.
yeah.
Hey, I've never held up an entire oil rig before,
That's
but
right.
I'm sure I'd be straining
While
my
almost
colon
on
as
fire
well.
too.
making some weird faces.
Yeah,
But then
I
it they get the people's safety and it blows up, and he's out floating in the ocean.
Are we just going to tell this movie to everyone?
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
gonna give him.
Yeah, this is spoiler filled.
That's
Man, I should have watched it the second time.
Well,
we
I don't
were
want to
gonna
have to tell the whole movie to people.
We
Well,
won't
then-
tell
but
the whole story,
do it. 3
but
hours later.
yeah, exactly. But you
Keep
know,
my ear to the ground.
you have
But
to.
but that's the first flashback. You know, he's in
Right,
the
and then
water.
he flashes back
First
to his
flashback
childhood,
to the
yeah.
Which
to the,
the-
the bus. You know, it's relevant. You
No,
see-
that's not the
Right.
bus. That's
I thought that was
the
the bus
classroom. No, where you get to
Oh,
No, it's
where
the
he
classroom
hears
where he runs into the
everything.
closet.
okay.
That was that was a
think the
cool
world
way
is so
of
big.
showing him dealing with his powers.
I know.
like,
I
how
loved
long-
all the kid flashbacks.
Right. The weird
Yeah.
part is like, I don't know. You know, like the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh, this is the first time this is happening to him. This is, this is all weird to him. But like the first time that he's seeing X-ray vision and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And so he runs to the closet because he's freaking the fuck out. But then his mom shows up and she's like, she knows exactly what to say to him to calm him down,
But,
So then I'm like, this isn't the first time this has happened.
No. I don't think she's calming him down because he's having a panic attack from his powers. I think she's being a good mom.
Yeah.
and
Right,
calming
but-
him
yeah.
down.
No, but you have to shrink the world, make it an island.
Well, no,
like
it's just-
that's not like a normal mother saying.
Yeah, just saying, just focus on me. Like, and he's
Focus
saying
on
the
my
world's
voice.
too big. It's too much. And
It's
she's just like,
possible. that-
No, the point is she knows what's happening to him, so she knows how to kind of guide him to get him to calm down.
No, I get what
Something
you're, I get what you're
first time.
saying.
It can't be because
it-
because no.
He's just this one.
Because how would she know to say that? Like he's like the world is so big. Okay, I would be if Clark came to me and he's like the world is so big, and I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
clearly Martha Kent's a better parent than you.
Right? She's just like, oh, he must be hearing stuff from cities away.
I still say that she doesn't think
And
that. I
seeing
think she's
X-ray
just
vision.
saying
She's
like,
being a good mom.
Yeah,
I honestly, that's what I took it as.
No.
'cause,
And
like,
even if
little
it
kid is
was,
like, everything is going on,
even if
I
his
can't
powers were
control
freaking
anything.
out, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that before maybe his
Right,
hearing
but
was
if she
erratic
didn't
or
know he
the
had
X-ray vision
powers,
or-
then she would be concerned. She'd be like, why are you freaking out? She wouldn't be like, okay, what you need to do is you need to think of an island. You need to
I'm
shrink
sure.
the world down so that you can only hear my
I'm
voice.
sure that they've had to deal with his powers before, but maybe
That's
not.
what I'm saying. It's like,
Maybe not X-ray vision. though.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I think.
Maybe this is a new
Just
power.
not all at once,
Yeah.
too.
but the
'cause,
sounds were
obviously it gets
what
out of
was
control.
messing with him in the scene. I mean, the X-ray
You see
vision
the
was
skeletons
weird,
and all that.
Yeah, I would
but
say you
but
still
the
get those.
sounds is what he was talking about. Like it's so loud or something, right?
I still
Didn't he?
think though that the children, the young Clark Kents, both of them did a great job.
and they
Yeah.
looked so
Yeah.
much like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, they did.
They all
Especially
got
the,
good.
They did a great job with
teenage
that.
one.
Yeah,
That was almost creepy to me how much
Yeah.
they looked similar.
Yeah,
They
I
look
think
just
it's-
like
Wait,
him.
okay.
This is fantastic.
Here's my
casting
question
on
for
the
you
kids.
guys. How do you feel about the fact that pretty much everyone in Smallville knows that Clark Kent has superpowers.
Yeah, there are literally
there's like 10 people in that whole
dozens
town
of people that know who he is now. You know, I mean, there's no way they could not.
I love that, like, the first time you introduced to Pete, who is a giant fat kid, which I don't get, like, and no, in any, like, any comic or any idea that in Superman where they talk about his best friend Pete when he's younger, he's never a giant douchey fat kid, but that's what he is in this movie. But then
he gets way too much screen time, by the way.
Yeah, that's what
Pete Ross, the Pete Ross character.
Yeah.
But he's
too
kind
much
of a
Pete
jerk,
Ross.
like in the comics sometimes, wasn't he? Like when they were younger.
I
thought they were
very little.
or was it like
Very little.
They were
was
like
it the
best friends.
Yeah.
was
in
it
the comics, it was really
remember,
supposed
like,
to be like Lana, Pete, and Clark are like these outcasts.
No, they used
that
to
are
have
all
like
friends.
Superman short, like animated. It was what was that on? Was it on Super Friends or something? Once in a while they'd be
There
like
was a
Tales of Smallville or something. You
There
know?
was a Superman show.
and then
that-
and then once in a
that
while
they
they would
did
have like
that.
on the. I
It
thought
was
like
the
he
end of
was
it
a
or
jerk.
something.
I thought they were like
He-
kind of enemies in that.
He could have been, but what Jordan's talking about is the comics, though.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Right.
like
But-
any incarnation. Of
Well, that's
Pete.
what I mean,
I don't know
that's
that
what I was
Pete-
talking about. I think
The
that
character really adds a lot to Superman. I mean, he's one of those background characters for me.
Right.
It does
but-
if you like look at how his life as a teenager in Smallville affects
But
his life in general.
You talk about the
Right.
poor casting on Pete Ross.
Oh, I don't
What-
think it's poor casting. I question, like,
But
it's
they
not
did the
poor
same thing
casting,
with
like,
Perry
I
White.
hate it. I'm just like, why?
maybe
you know,
like,
I-
maybe that was the only kid and adult
Because
combo they
I'm
could
okay with
find that
Lawrence
looked so
Fishburne.
much alike.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm okay with Lawrence Fishburne being Perry White because, like, they pretty much said, like, we're trying something different and we're making Perry White black. And I'm
Right.
like, whatever.
Who
Like,
cares?
yeah,
Right.
I think he was a bit of an overcast,
Yeah.
though. For
Yeah.
no more than what they gave him to do, did they really
Yeah.
need
do
Lawrence
you understand
Fishburne?
how much work
Right, but I
Lawrence
liked him.
Fishburne has had in the
I-
last, like, 5 years? Like,
But still,
this is the movie, like, the last movie he did after this was Predators.
Yeah, but he was on CSI. I mean, he wasn't doing it. He wasn't doing a lot of shows.
There's
or
a
lot of
distinct
movies.
difference between movies and TV when you look at
A paycheck's a
Hollywood.
paycheck, though.
Yeah.
To an actor, but, like, movie studios are like, oh, you do TV? Like, go have fun with that. We're making feature films here,
I
okay?
understand.
I think the way that we saw it though is just Lawrence Fishburne has such a commanding presence, and cast him as that, where he is just kind of a side guy.
Maybe
is
we'll
a
see
little
more of that.
Wait, so you're thinking that Cowboy Curtis is too big to do Perry White? Is what
Exactly.
you're
He's-
saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
I
here's
totally disagree.
here's one of my things that I had a problem with,
He's a
though,
good actor,
with the
but-
Perry White, was when Ginny is in danger and he's trying to save her so desperately, and he has Lumbar come in and help him. Why do you care?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
like,
felt
there's
that
no
that,
reason to
like,
care for
that
those characters.
attachment
Yeah.
was so great. Like, I care so much about this intern.
Well, that's
No,
okay.
no. Why do you
No,
care
but that's
about these
how I
three
felt like-
characters?
Or yeah, but I was like, why does he like? We can't leave Jenny, you know?
That-
like,
That is the biggest problem with this movie, in my opinion.
They
is-
rely too heavily on the comics.
They rely
For-
too heavily on Superman. On this whole, look, this dude can do whatever he wants. Like, he can legit, has every superpower you could possibly imagine. Okay? And now we're putting him against a dude who has the exact same things. Like, it's Superman fighting Superman, essentially. But never in this entire movie, well, I shouldn't say in this entire movie. A large portion of this movie is like, Superman is supposed to lead this people, like, lead Earth to a better future.
right?
But he
Like,
shows no regard for
yeah,
human
they
life.
Okay,
totally
here's-
threw away
here's-
like the Boy Scout part
Yes,
of
they
Superman.
did.
Here's
they
my thing.
totally did.
He's not Superman.
It's
Right.
his first,
Yeah,
it's
this
his
is the
first go around the block.
This
Right,
is his
but
first outing.
There
Yeah.
is so much destruction.
Yes.
Metropolis is basically ruins. At least blocks of Metropolis
Yes.
are
And
just devastated.
realistically, though, if these two were going at it, wouldn't they? Not to mention, he's never thrown a punch in his life, and he's trying to go toe-to-toe with
Yeah.
a military general who
Exactly.
not only is a military general, but he was bred and engineered
Exactly.
to be a soldier.
Yeah.
So
but-
You got to pull out all the stops.
He
Right,
doesn't
but, like,
have time.
The thing
Yeah.
about Superman is his weakness is his compassion.
yes.
You know, like,
He
he
does
is so
save a lot of
powerful
people.
that
No,
is
he
his
doesn't.
weakness.
He does.
No,
It's not
he
a
doesn't.
ton.
Who does he,
He
save in
saves
this movie?
the guys on the ship, on the
Yeah.
rig.
He
He
saves
saves-
guys on the rig. He saves some soldiers from falling. He saves Lois because he has to save Lois,
Yeah, because he wants to fuck her.
and he saves that family from
Because he
in
wants
the
them
end.
too.
Okay, so you mean to
He
tell me
saves
that in this
very
movie
few
he
people.
saves
a busload.
literally
8 people.
children.
And a busload of kids.
as an that's okay. That's the thing. That's what I hate. Is like he saves those kids, and I loved the whole Jonathan Kent part where he's like, well, maybe you should have let him die, but, like, that's wrong, but I don't want you to call it, like, I get that. Like, this conflict of, like, I don't want people to know who I am, but I have this need to save people.
Right.
And, like, I have the ability to save people. No one else does. I want to use that.
And he tells people to get inside in Smallville. You know, he tells them to get out of the way because it's going to get bad.
But they throw, like oil rig trucks and explode and, like...
train engines.
That's what blew my mind is, like, all of the destruction in Smallville, which is supposed to be a town of, like, the size of, like, where we live now.
It's called Smallville.
It's Smallville. It's like a podunk farm
I have an
town.
IHOP, you know?
Yes. Like, there are, at most, probably a couple hundred people just, like, chilling in town. Like, get those people out and then fight. Or, heaven forbid, you're in a farmland. Take it to a farm. Take it to a field where there's no one in the way.
Like he's going to get a timeout. Let's evacuate people. He has to
they're
respond to the imminent threat
they're there to
with
fight
the level
him.
that
they're there for him. So if he goes,
he leaves to a
somewhere
field,
else.
they follow.
No.
But
Here's
if we've
the
got the
thing.
multiples, though,
This is the problem, and here's what it is this is America,
Yeah.
and this is an American film.
They want to see
They want to see the destruction
I get
because Transformers 2, even though I'm not saying it was a good film, it hurt its box office that they had the big fight out in the desert. People want to see the buildings destroyed. People don't want to see two guys duking out in a cornfield.
because
I know that's not your
wanting
character.
You're wanting me to believe that this is Jesus?
No, but
Like,
people.
That's what Superman is. He's Jesus.
Yeah, there was so much Jesus in this movie. Like, seriously, from the Moses, I'm going to send my son
Lifts
down
up into the
down
sky.
the river of space.
But that is Superman's story. You have the Moses.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, this movie, and then there was a 5-minute scene where the only thing I could look at was Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Jesus was on the screen for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, Superman was off to the side, and I'm looking at Jesus center screen.
Yes. He's right.
Superman is a minor character
Yes.
over here.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
Hey, dummy. In case you didn't realize, we're comparing these two. Hey.
That's what it is.
Hey, this is Jesus.
Yeah. And
Hey, Clark, if you could, when you fall out of this ship, if you don't mind being crucified as you fall out of the ship, that would be cool too.
It's true. He's right. Like, everything about this movie is they try to say, for like the first half of this movie, they try to say he has this power, he has this want and need to save people, and his father on Earth teaches him that, and then he finds out that his father on Krypton wants him to do the same, and this is who I am, I save people, and then as soon as the fighting starts, it's let's get my ass kicked in a town full of people that and it is shown in every turn. When he's thrown into IHOP, people are chilling in IHOP watching it.
Right, yeah, it's full.
When he's
The
thrown into a
restaurant's
bank,
full.
people are in the bank chilling watching it.
The Metropolis, though, people are clearing out because
No, they're not.
They start clearing
No,
out.
they're not.
They do.
not.
No, but then listen. Just
No.
listen.
They're like-
Listen to this.
There's a giant grav machine, and what people do in the Daily Planet is they sit outside of
Ooh,
it
let's
like,
watch.
dude, that's like, I could touch that right now.
No, listen.
Look at all that rubble.
Some people
We're
clear
good.
out. You see, because they get
Right,
outside.
like a bunch of people get sucked
Perry
up
White
into
gets
it.
outside.
They're trying to get away.
They're clearly evacuating, but then people from a distance stop and stay and watch like storm chasers, and that's
Right.
what. If,
People- I think
if you're
people would
stupid
really
enough
do
to
that.
stand next
They
to a
would.
tornado,
They would.
then
But okay, then here's my thing then. Why isn't Superman in stinking Metropolis trying to save people when this grav machine is destroying it? But instead he goes to the one that is in a stinking ocean that no one in their right mind would be even near. And he
Right.
chooses that one to blow up.
Well, because it was the World Engine. He had to
No, it
destroy
wasn't.
the World Engine.
Engine is on the ship.
no, the world
No,
engine.
the world
no,
they
they
dropped
dropped
the world engine.
Oh, it
yeah,
was?
that
Yeah,
was
like the
actually-
world
they
is
had to
slave
drop
to
it.
the Indian Ocean.
Yeah.
to the world
Phantom
engine.
Drive.
Yeah,
That's what it
that's-
was.
yeah.
There was
Yeah.
the Phantom Drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, like he
And
had to
instead of
destroy
going
the
in-
World Engine because they were the slave to the World Engine. So if he destroyed the World Engine,
Okay.
it would shut it
And
down.
it probably-
basically at that point.
Okay.
Might have kept terraforming had he took out Black Zero ship
Right.
first.
Which reminds me, at this point, I want to bring up
Yeah.
that this is the fourth feature film of Superman?
Fifth.
No, fourth feature film of Superman that has been about real estate. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, like Superman 1, all about real estate. Superman 2, was all about real estate, wasn't it? Like, but like Lex Luthor was
making a deal.
Yeah,
like,
making deals. I just want Australia or whatever.
Yeah.
Superman Returns, all about real estate. This one, like, I'm gonna fucking terraform the planet.
Yeah, that's
a good point.
Superman is a hard dude to
It
make
is
a movie.
apparently the only thing Superman villains care about is real estate.
They want land.
Okay,
Times is tough.
And
You gotta get
that's
land.
That's
It's the only thing they're not making more of.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
a good segue that I want to point out that I enjoyed all of the nods to like LexCorp, but Lex Luthor wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that actually.
Yeah.
I enjoyed they weren't like, ooh, we have to put him in so people know that he's in this universe.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it so you don't have to worry about, was he not fleshed out enough as a character? Like,
Yeah.
was he evil yet? Or
They
anything
weaved
like
it in
that.
real subtle. It was
Yeah,
nice.
they did. I
Right.
like that.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And like the Wayne Enterprises satellite.
Yeah, I've seen the film twice and still not seen the logo. I know
Really?
it's there. But
It's there on the. It's like
totally
clear as
missed it.
That's another
I
one where
didn't
they're like,
notice it either.
look, it's Wayne Enterprises, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
I get it.
But,
I
like,
get it.
you've already
cried
told
about
me that Christian Bale isn't Batman in this universe, so
Yeah.
I'd like to say, though, when you go with the title Man of Steel and watching this movie, you want to talk about a Man of Steel, look at Jonathan Kent.
I like Kevin Costner.
I think
Yeah.
Kevin Costner did an amazing
Kevin
job
Costner
of
did
this.
amazing for the.
It
So it's-
reminded
But
so
he was
Diane
not Jonathan Kent like at all.
No, he reminded me of John Schneider
Okay.
a lot. But I'm gonna say this though. He tells him,
But-
maybe you should have let those kids die to protect
Right.
you. Protect the secret and protect you.
But that's not Jonathan Kent.
But he's so hardcore about this that he dies in
Yeah,
the
he
most
sacrifices
horrible way
himself.
Right.
possible
Right.
Yeah.
to keep his son's secret. He gets taken out by a tornado.
For a
if
dog.
you're gonna,
Which,
over a
before
dog.
that, it
Which-
clearly has the worst broken ankle in the history of man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I saw
He's
that, and I'm
hobbling.
like, I just want you to die so you don't have to deal with that.
I know,
Like,
he's
that
hobbling
hurts.
around.
That
But
was
he
terrible.
knows his son can save him. But they're gonna have some explaining to do. But he, waves him
Adrenaline,
back.
Yeah.
Like,
That
just let me go.
scene, I'll be real honest with you. I cried at that point
It
because,
was
like,
tough.
right before it happens, he's arguing with him like, "You're
Yeah,
not my real
right.
dad."
Yeah, I want
Oh,
to do
yeah.
something meaningful with my life.
Yeah,
And
like
that's-
farming isn't
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Blah.
Yeah, you're no good as a person, Dad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
then-
not only that, you're not my dad. Yeah. I'm gonna do what I want.
gosh.
And then his dad dies right in front of him.
Yeah.
And he stands by and lets it happen because he trusts his dad. I just think that's a man of
Right.
conviction
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
It's just, to me,
not
like,
only am I willing to let children die to keep my son's secret, but I myself will die
Right. Right.
to
but
protect
the
my
thing-
son.
But the thing is, like, Superman is who he is because he was raised by the Kents.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why he is so good. That's why he cares so much.
Yeah.
And this movie didn't give me any of that.
That's
It's
true.
more of like, some people are going to have to die, Clark. I mean, that's the price you have to pay for keeping your secret is people are going to have to
I
die.
wanna-
And I feel like that's that's not who Superman is at all. But
I did not want Kevin Costner in this movie whenever I read his name.
I agree. But he was great in it. Just
I
like,
want
think
more
casting
now.
in this
Yeah.
entire movie
Yeah.
was wonderful.
They all
I think
did terrific
everybody.
I
was
want
great.
Smallville 2.0 with Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. Like, that's what I want. That's what, and the 13-year-old Clark Kent. Like, I would watch that show.
Reboot.
I would like drool over that show.
Yeah, I think that they all did a fantastic job. I think that, with it being a movie the way that it was, how they skipped around a lot and they didn't do the straight linear origin story, you missed out on a lot. Like, you would have got more Jonathan Kent,
Right.
and you might have seen some more of those values being instilled, but
But it also would have added minutes to the movie, and it was
But,
already
yeah,
2.5
then
hours.
then it would have
Yeah.
been another stinking Superman Origins movie.
so I'm glad
Right.
they didn't go the
Yeah,
traditional origin
me too.
route. I thought this was a good film, the way they did it.
I honestly think that if you see this movie as, I think they did a smart thing by calling this Man of Steel and not Superman, because if you go into this movie accepting the fact that there has never been any Superman movies before this,
Right.
and there has never been any real comics in general, then this is a good movie. Like, if you go into it, like you said, understanding that this is Superman has never been Superman before, and and maybe accepting that maybe in this universe, like, the morals of, like, save every life is precious, save every life no matter what, if those weren't the morals instilled, but more like, people are going to hate you and kill you if you show up as the superpowered godlike being.
Right.
Like, if you can accept
Which
that,
they
in this-
would.
Yeah, which they totally would. In
Right.
today's time, that would totally happen. And I feel like in today's time, this movie makes perfect sense of, like, mass destruction and millions will die and you have to protect as many as you can. But you're right, some will die. Like, if it's that sense, then yes, this is a good movie. But that's
Right.
not Superman.
Right, I agree. Yeah, like if you just totally take the Superman mythos and throw it out the window,
Yeah.
and like this is a retelling, modern day retelling. That's kind of what they
Yeah,
said though
reimagining.
when they and I'm okay with that. Like I really enjoyed it. Like I'm saying, I mean, I do have those complaints, but those complaints are from like being a Superman fanboy and being like, this is how Superman should be, But if you look at it as its own world, then I don't have those complaints
Yeah.
anymore.
See, I've dealt with a lot of Superman reboots
Mhm.
and different versions over the years, and I accept this. This is the Superman that I've wanted to see for
This is-
quite some time, and they do borrow a lot from the comics.
Yeah,
They do.
but this is my favorite Superman film.
They
Like,
borrow a lot
oh,
from
yeah.
like
Earth,
even
right?
and
By
I
far.
and I was even trying to think of like I own a lot of the DC Direct like cartoons,
Right.
and I think that even including those, this may be my favorite Superman film.
My thing is, when I went to see Superman Returns, this is no joke, I was sick to my stomach with that film.
Super
I-
Stalker.
I
was
was
creepy.
that upset about Superman Returns, but I put on a good face,
Mhm.
because
'Cause
this
you're
is
Superman
Superman,
fan,
yeah.
and
This
I
is
want
it. He's
people.
back.
I want to make money, and I want to see him and Christian Bale together in a
Right.
possible Superman
Yeah.
Batman movie.
Yeah.
Like
But
I wanted
this
I
film-
wanted sequels to that movie. Like
Right.
I think the sequels could have been awesome.
But
Is it
this
Superman
film,
Returns?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
because
but
they would
I'm
have had
saying,
that
like,
stupid kid in
they
tow
had to
all
have
the time.
right. That
Mhm.
would it would have been weird, but I'm glad they didn't, and I'm glad that we have Man of Steel now.
Oh, yeah.
because sequels to this I think will be awesome. Will be what I wanted Superman Returns to be.
Yes,
Right.
yes, this is what I wanted Superman Returns to be for
Yeah.
sure. But I didn't have that feeling with this movie. I wasn't nauseous or anything. I did have some complaints with it.
What are some of your complaints?
Well, a lot of it wore off after I watched it for the
Oh,
second
really?
time, but I didn't like the hard cuts. I think that there's just different scenes in the movie that it just, and not
Yeah.
even in present day. Whenever he's in there with the military being interrogated, and he says something about it's going to be your decision, and immediately they're
Yeah.
outside.
Well,
you know,
that I think
It was just a rough transition.
I think that a lot has to do with Christopher Nolan. And honestly, and I need to look this up, but I think that whoever's in charge of editing for Dark Knight Rises and Man of Steel may have been
Yeah.
the same person. Because, like, it was like that
They
for
were
Dark
rough
Knight
like that
Rises.
for Dark Knight
Yeah.
Rises.
There's a part where it's like, we've only got like 28 days until this bomb explodes. And then, like,
It's like, we've
the
got
next
5
day-
Yeah, now
hours.
we've got 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what has been happening?
Yeah, oh my
Right,
gosh, we've
exactly.
wasted a lot of
Yeah,
time.
Like, you mean to tell me for a month you've been tracking this bomb and you got nothing to show for it?
There's
Right,
chalk marks
like-
on the
like,
on the wall.
we've
That's
been
it.
basically-
Doodling on walls,
Yeah.
that's all you're doing?
Hey,
We've
check
been
out my
napping.
name.
Yeah. I think that's I agree with you. There were a lot
There
of,
there was some really rough cuts. One
Yeah.
of the things I hated with this film, and it's not the film's fault at all,
Mhm.
is that today everything has to be filmed in 3D. They have
This
to
wasn't
shoot,
filmed in 3D.
They have to shoot with 3D in mind, because how many scenes Was there?
Yeah.
with an outreached hand?
Yeah.
You've seen Zod's hand outreached at least 3 or 4
It's
times,
terrible.
and
But
they do the
that's-
same thing with Superman
But
when
that's
he's
how
reaching for
that's
the
how
sun.
Snyder shoots, though.
Right.
Snyder
I
is
just-
very stylized and very
Right.
like if
I-
you want
Look at my hands!
he wants you to really understand it. Like
And, and I didn't care for that at all.
I am so over the 3D thing, though.
I was never into
but-
anything.
but
It's
it-
terrible.
it brings up box office. I get
It
that.
does.
Yes, it does.
But
And that's fine.
significant.
I'd
just-
rather watch the movie twice than watch it once in 3D.
Right, exactly.
So what else did you not like? Hard cuts. What else?
CGI, please say CGI.
Oh yeah, the CGI was really rough in the last fight. It was
Yeah,
just so
the
really
him and
bad.
Zod just
Yeah.
in the city. It looked cartoony almost.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
could have cleaned that up a lot better.
Yeah. Like,
Another,
Oh, I
in a
agree.
movie that costs this much money to make, like, why would that be the part where you're like,
Let's skimp. Yeah, let's
Eh,
cut
most
Most
corners.
spent
important
a lot
fight
of money
scene.
on disaster porn.
right, like, oh, we got to bring down the skyscraper instead of
instead of focus on
making
what
this look good.
instead of making Superman look like a person.
That's what I don't get is like the fight in Smallville between Superman and the two other Kryptonians. Like that was far superior, in my opinion, than the fight between he and Zod.
Mhm.
Another thing that I really don't care about, and again, it's not this movie's fault. I understand they want to separate themselves, even though there's a lot of nods to older stuff. I mean, I think there's actors actually from Superman the movie in this film, if I've read it right. The child who comes to Earth in Superman the movie, the young Kal-El,
Baby.
is in this film, from what I understand, as one of the soldiers or one of the crew when they find the Fortress of Solitude.
Wait, say this again.
The child who comes to Earth in Superman the movie, the one who picks up the truck, because he's like 5 by the time he gets to Earth.
Okay.
As an adult man, he's in this film.
Oh, okay. Okay.
From what I understand, and there's different references to Smallville and several actors from Smallville in this
That's
film.
true.
So if they're going to do that many nods,
Yeah, where's
Why-
Madison Mac?
But Lois Lane was in Smallville.
yeah,
I mean, Amy Adams was in an episode of Smallville.
yeah, but where's my Superman movie theme? I want the Superman
They
theme.
See, I heard
deliberately tried to
originally-
avoid that.
and I know,
But I heard that originally, like, during the credits, they played the John Williams theme, but I didn't ever
Maybe at like
catch it.
premiere or
Or
something.
maybe it was like in the
So-
early.
They're
but the
deliberately
reason
trying to
why-
avoid it.
Sure.
I know that they're trying to avoid it, but that is one of the most recognized
True.
Even
movie themes.
yeah.
That's up there with Jaws,
But-
Halloween, Star
Star
Wars.
Wars.
It's
Yeah.
way up there. Everybody knows
if
that.
they would have
Like I
just
said,
put it
though-
whenever he's walking into the Daily Planet, just started in like then and let it go, that
Yeah.
would have been.
I would have been happy if it was in the
Perfected.
credits.
That's
Right,
the thing,
that's-
though. Like,
yeah.
that
But,
song
yeah.
reminds you of Superman.
Right.
They
Is
want to
this
step
a
aside.
Superman movie? Like, this isn't the Superman that we all grew up with.
Right,
This is a
right.
new Superman. This is a Superman that, like, people die.
Right.
Like,
People. To be fair, people died in the other Superman movies.
yeah, but, like, every time, like,
They're just so campy you don't notice. And not
But it
only
was
that,
but, like,
but like that was his thing. Is like he would stop fighting to go save
yes.
people.
Yes.
Right.
Like this one, he's like, I don't care. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
well, maybe he thought that was the best way to do it was to get it over with as quick as
Right.
possible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And like
I'm
I
not
say,
saying
first
it's a bad
time out, you
choice.
don't know what you're doing.
If you're going to argue that Superman killed Zod as fast as he possibly could to save millions of lives, then I would argue that as soon as he gets that stupid premonition of, like, falling underneath skulls, of, like,
he should have
you're gonna kill everyone? Like,
Yeah.
then you kill him.
Right.
Like, that was my biggest argument, was like,
Okay.
you know what's gonna happen, but instead of just, like, searching out Zod and killing him, like, you let millions of people die.
Here's
Or
what
even, like, the military, wouldn't they be like, let's evacuate people whenever
right.
we see this giant ship
Yeah,
above
they
Metropolis?
probably should have
They should have.
evacuated cities.
Yeah, but here's something that kind
But
of
again,
bothered me
American
about
movie.
the movie.
Right.
Is,
American movie.
Yeah.
You know, people want that.
Batman Begins. Okay, Bruce Wayne, Batman, cannot kill Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ra's
like-
al Ghul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, you won't kill me or whatever. He's like, yes, but I don't have to save you. I mean,
Yeah.
but Superman's like, click. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care to snap Zod's neck.
Oh,
I mean,
clearly he did care.
well, I
he
mean,
did.
yeah, I mean, no, he definitely cared.
He had no
but, like,
choice.
Superman should not go to that place.
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say, Superman has gone to that place, and in comics, he's made the hard call different times.
Yeah.
But not only that, for all the Richard Donner fans out there, Superman totally kills Zod. He breaks his hand after he's lost his powers. He throws him down his hole, and then smiles about it. There's not even any
He's like,
remorse.
Because that's a clean
Like
way to
you
do
said,
it.
though, that's a campy movie.
right.
It is a campy movie, but he
Yeah.
totally kills Zod in that.
That's
Right.
true.
And everybody's like, I love the Donner films. They're true. But, it's
Yeah.
it's just
Just
not
gotta think
that
about
way.
Right.
I agree with you. Like, that whole scene of him snapping his neck by trying to save the multi-ethnic group people, like, that was so dumb. It's just so bad.
They
But
left him
honestly,
with no other choice in the script.
That's
It's
kind of
the
what I was
writer's
thinking. I was
fault.
like,
Just
how
kinda
else
wrote
are
into
they
it,
going
yeah.
to end
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
At that point, yeah, they
But
Like, honestly, I think that he should have been sucked up into the black hole or whatever, and then it ended 10 minutes earlier, I mean, I think that was just
But you have to
unnecessary,
your
and I
big
think
fight
that was the
climax.
worst CGI of the movie. I think
Yeah.
that had that fight been cut, I would have been happier overall with the movie.
you know, they actually cut another fight.
Really?
I think Goyer was the one that came out and said there was 2 scenes that they cut that they really wanted. One was shortly after he arrived on Earth, they were going to show him as a child getting an ear test, and the tones were gonna affect him, and so he would scream and shatter the glass.
That's
but
cool.
They thought that would come off as too funny for this film,
Oh, yeah.
but my thing is they could have done with a little more funny. Like this is Superman, they could have put a little more.
I'm glad
No.
they didn't have.
They didn't have much funny, and that's why at the very end, whenever she's like,
I think
he's
he's
kind of
hot.
hot, I'm just like,
Yeah, that for
What?
me, I was
It
like, I don't
felt a
need
little
that.
out of
I don't
place.
need that.
in this movie.
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
taught me this entire movie that everyone in the military is very military.
Right.
And then you have this captain with a general, he's hot.
Yeah.
Like,
General Barack
But
Obama.
then the other,
yeah.
the other,
Hey, why wasn't the general Lane?
I don't know.
Like, why wouldn't
He was in the original. Like the
original
what Nolan
script.
turned in,
Yeah.
the original treatment or whatever.
I don't see why that wouldn't have been a good. Because then you would have had a good, like,
I think
Lois
the reason
Lane and
why
her dad little banter thing.
is because they wanted this guy to kind of come around to Superman, whereas Lane's going to hate him. Like, I hope that they put Lane in the future films,
Right.
and
But,
Lane
like,
really hate him.
Well,
But the other thing that they
you could have
cut
made
was
Lane
this.
and just
Was
made
this
him like me. I'm not sure it'd be it.
they were going to do this fight scene, or it was destruction, big action scene that they didn't even let him film because there was just too much already.
Mm-hmm.
But Zod was going to threaten Earth and then release Feora and Namek in 2 different countries, and just let them destroy.
That would be,
Just it would
that
have
would
been awesome to
stupid
see.
watch.
But to me, it would have reminded me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 when they let Toka and Razar live. And they're like, go, play, have fun. And they start tearing stuff up. That's what it would have felt like to me.
And then
But I would have
Superman
loved to
have
see
to save
it.
the
though.
day with donuts.
Perhaps.
And Vanilla
Num
Ice.
Nums.
And Vanilla Ice. And you have to have a dance scene.
Yeah, if we could have got Vanilla Ice.
We'd
in
have
this
had to
film,
have
it would
an
been so
impromptu
much
Vanilla
better.
Ice song
He's
about
too busy flipping
Superman.
houses.
But you do.
Right, yeah.
People talk about this film being dark and all that, and there is.
I don't think it's really that dark, to be honest.
there is some dark tones to it, but look how happy he is when he's learning how to fly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
And as you mentioned, you get the girl whose last name is Ferris as a nod to Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Carrie Ferris, is it?
Yeah.
You get her. I mean, you get and he destroys a drone, a U.S. government drone, because they're tracking
Which
him.
I saw that. Like, when that happened, I'm like, that's totally something Superman would do.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Don't forget about the, did you say the truck drivers?
Oh, the truck driver.
In the bar?
Yeah, the bar.
Pours beer on him and then he goes
That was
outside.
funny.
The
Yeah.
one that's harassing the waitress.
Right.
He tries to pick a fight with him, and Clark backs down because he doesn't want to kill the guy, and he goes out and he smashes up his truck, and then the guy finds it
I
later.
won't lie, when that happened, I had a brief moment of Superman 2 in my mind.
Right.
Of whenever he's in that diner and he gets his butt kicked.
Yeah.
Well, you see, the thing is people complain about that, he got revenge and crushed that guy's truck or whatever, stuck it on a telephone pole. In Superman 2, he goes back and throws him through a
Right.
pinball machine
Yeah,
or
he
something.
does. Yeah.
Like, I don't think people paid attention in the Donner films. All these
Right.
people that
People
are
just remember
talking about
parts
how
of it.
great.
Especially 2. 1 was very Boy Scouty. 1 was
Right.
like, I'm going to do good for the whole country.
And another thing, though, as here I've done it too a little bit, is people keep going on about, I love the Donner films. Okay,
But
Donner
we
did
can't
one.
consider two a
Yeah.
Donner, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. Is like Salkinds kind of had as
Yeah.
much to do with that as Donner did.
Yeah.
So
The Salkinds, and they were involved in the other movies too.
right, they were involved with one.
They were
I mean,
involved with one, and
They were involved with all
one of them was as a producer on the second one. But
and then they made 3 and
I
4.
think it's just
Like
a good
I don't
thing.
think they were involved with 4.
I
they were
think
involved
I don't
up
think
to
most people are going to be
sure
like, this
that
Superman
at least
movie
one
didn't
of them
happen,
was still involved.
like we do with
through them
Superman
all.
3 and 4.
Right. Where you're
What's
just
that?
like,
I don't think this will be a movie that...
You don't think
People-
we're going to see Chris Rock in the third one? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, like, I
in
don't
place
think...
of Richard Pryor.
I think that they're going to take more care with this, especially Warner Brothers. For the main reason of, like...
they like money.
They love money, and
Oh,
they don't
yeah.
have any more Harry Potters up their sleeve.
I know.
So that's why I'm thinking they're really going to push more.
They need to, because
Superhero
Green Lantern
movies.
was a bit of a joke.
It was. That still makes me sad.
yes.
I know.
It makes me... The
Like, I'm
biggest
okay with
thing-
it. I'm okay if they want to use Reynolds, but that was just a bad movie.
The biggest thing that made me sad about it was, like, Jeff Johns was so closely involved in that movie.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
That does make,
and
that's
it was
sad.
still so shitty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes me sad. There are parts of it, like, everything on Oa I loved,
Right.
but most of everything else was...
You know what I hope comes out of this Man of Steel, though, is that we get a Supergirl movie, and maybe more Krypton, because I want more Krypton.
Oh.
That's
I don't.
I
see it.
loved Krypton.
It
I
was
don't. I don't
cool,
think
but,
Supergirl will ever show up in
I don't
any
care.
of these movies.
I don't think she will either. But the thing
No
is
Supergirl, no Krypto.
Krypton was amazing in this
Thank
movie.
God.
Yeah. Although I would have laughed if, like,
I'm so glad it wasn't a ball
he
of
named
ice.
his... Yeah. I'm so... I would have been okay with him naming one of the several dogs that he apparently had while growing up.
He lived on a
Krypto.
farm.
True.
I would have liked one of them to have been named Shelby, at least.
Yeah,
as
me
a not
too.
a small
And, you know, maybe it was just never said.
right.
I really like Diane Lane as his mom, too.
Oh yeah, she was.
She was
fantastic.
really good about, like... I really think she came off as a really good, like, old woman farmer's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Old
like-
stubborn woman.
Yeah.
Farmer mom.
Yeah.
You know, and things that I really loved is, as a parent, there are those moments that you can relate to in the film where she talks about laying there with him as an infant and listening to him breathe because he was having so much trouble breathing and worried about people coming and taking him away. Yeah. And that kind of stuff just really tugs at your heartstrings. And then to go even on Krypton, when Jor-El and Laura are getting ready to send him off, and she says, "We'll never see him walk. Yeah. We will never hear him say our names." You know, and as a parent, that stuff just got me.
That's, in a way, it's like the movie is two different movies. You've got this, like, really heartfelt, like, raising this child to be, like, that he's special, he can do whatever he wants, and that's scary, so you have to teach him good morals and things, but on the other hand, you have just, like, disaster porn and big fights and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I think they did a good job mashing the two together. Yeah.
Everything with Jor-El and Jonathan and Martha Kent was perfect. Oh, yeah. Like, I wouldn't change a bit of it.
No, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. And I totally did dig the whole, like, Jor-El consciousness helping him out. Like, that was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of want to know if he's gone now. Like, did Michael Shannon destroy the consciousness?
Yeah, he did.
Or just from that ship?
Well, he doesn't have the key anymore.
He doesn't have the key. The key
to activate him.
The key was used to activate his ship to blow up.
Right, but he was already activated in the Fortress of Solitude, air quotes.
But the Fortress of Solitude was Zod's ship at the end.
I thought he went and got a different... Oh, did he get
the
same one?
That was the ship.
Yeah, that was the Fortress.
They were flying around in the world ship.
That's right. Okay,
Another thing that I really liked about when he goes and finds the Fortress of Solitude is when they were doing Superman Returns, they had a website, I think it was bluetights.net, where they gave you updates on how things were going. And the writers of Superman Returns were making a joke, and they had a trash can or a shop vac or something, and they were saying, "Oh, this is going to be a robot that protects the Fortress of Solitude." And I'm like, it would be really cool if they had, that kind of technology in the movie, and they totally didn't. They had all magic crystals. And then in this movie, you get to the Fortress of Solitude, and there's a robot protecting the Fortress of Solitude. So I love that. They're like, this is it.
Wasn't that like a John Peters idea? Like, didn't Kevin Smith say something about robots protecting?
He wanted soldiers to protect the Fortress of Solitude.
Right.
He wanted
but it was robot soldiers, wasn't it?
No, he wanted Brainiac to have a robot sidekick.
Oh, that's right.
No, he wanted soldiers to protect the Fortress of Solitude.
Right, just regular soldiers.
Like the Superman robot.
Right. I don't think that's what Smith said, but I think that it's funny that, here they're making fun of, this is such a stupid idea of a robot protecting the fortress, and here we have it in this film, and it's awesome.
But they can get away with it, too, because of earlier on, whenever you're introduced to this Kryptonian society that has these robots that help you out with things.
Right, yeah.
Which I would totally have a robot like that to, like, call people with. Like, I get to see that person's face while calling them. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and they come out in like a liquid metal
type
T-1000-esque.
Pin pressure
I like how every 20 or so minutes in this movie, it's like, okay, look out, there's someone behind you. There's always people warning about someone coming up behind somebody else. Like, okay, now move your head left.
Yeah. I gotta say, I did not like Amy Adams being cast as Lois Lane. I still don't necessarily know that I like her being cast as Lois Lane.
That's what I'm saying. I think the character.
I think she's a fantastic actress.
Yeah, I think the character was written so well that you can like Amy Adams in the role, but I think somebody else in the role would have been a better Lois Lane.
Better choice.
I disagree 180.
Like, I don't think it was written for Amy Adams. Because, like, I just don't find Amy Adams believable in the, let's quit measuring our dicks. I'm like, that's not Amy Adams at all. Like,
have you seen, like,
the fighter?
Yeah,
I haven't.
Yeah, the fighter.
She's sassy and
she
gets in fights in that one. She gets in fist fights with girls.
I honestly believe that on paper, Lois Lane's character was super weak and just like the love interest of Superman. I honestly think that. And her as an actress brought forth the stubborn,
this is woman Demi Rohr.
So you say love interest, and that's going to bring me to the next point that I hate.
No babies.
No.
Do you hate that there's no child in this movie?
Yes, I hate that there's no 5-year-old child.
Do you hate that there's not a 10-minute Superman stalking scene in this movie?
Yes, I also hate that. No, I hate that the Superman and Lois kiss in this film because they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
no... okay, you saved me a few times.
You've known me
for some people say
days.
that maybe it's just like a crush, You know, and I'll buy that in the next movie they're not going to be in love, but they're going to build a relationship. But I just thought it was so weak that, now they're kissing.
Right.
You know, why are you kissing
But
this
they do that
man?
in movies all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Like, and now all of a sudden we're in a relationship.
I know, but
out of
I thought that was
nowhere.
worse
That's
than
movie
Padme and
studios.
Anakin, though.
Right, but like, what comes to mind for me is like Final Destination. Like, where, you know, like in one
they're
scene,
stuck
like,
about
they don't really know each other, and then the next one she's like, oh, baby, you know, like,
But
where'd
that's-
this relationship
but that's-
blossom
That's
from?
making a movie. It's like, whenever you pitch any movie, you've got to be like, here are my big trailer moments, here's the big love thing.
Yeah, I think
Right,
they
we're
probably
just
should have
supposed
put
to
more
believe that-
love
that
in
they
the
love each other
sequel
now.
and skipped it for this film.
They should have just plucked that whole love story out.
Right.
It should have just been Lois Lane feeling, not necessarily sorry, but like, feeling towards this, like, caring for this character of, like, he's tried to
He's an
protect
outsider.
He's an outsider, he's
Yeah.
protected his identity, he's afraid of, like, he has his ability to save us all, but he's afraid
He's so
that-
lonely.
Yeah. Yeah, like that kind of idea.
Yeah.
Like,
I-
that would have been much
I'll
and
but
without the making out.
I'll buy that it was
Yeah.
just a crush, you know, and that we'll see more in the next film. But it
Yeah.
seemed really quick and out of place. During the middle of a fight, he starts making out with Lois.
You have a big, strong, muscly man save you a couple times and see if you don't kiss him.
He
totally
is
will.
very dreamy and hot in that movie.
He is a
You have a
good-looking
good-looking
guy.
fella save
He
you,
is
and then
a-
we'll see where you stand on
He
that.
is a manly man
Yeah.
with chest hair and everything.
Yeah.
And he's a good-looking guy.
That's true.
Yeah. It's tough to find people. eHarmony is not nice.
Yeah,
But,
and
yeah, I
and you're
mean-
Lois Lane, you're going across the whole world.
You're busy traveling.
Yeah.
You don't have time for relationships.
Exactly.
You just
And then here's this guy
Kiss
that
the
can
first
fly
guy that catches you.
and
Yeah.
save you.
I think that all of my complaints with the movie, though, were like very minor, and I feel like overall I still really enjoyed this much more.
Oh,
than,
yeah, definitely.
than
My-
any
my
other
only-
Superman.
My
Um,
only large complaint was the whole, like, him allowing millions of people to die because Superman
Because it's
doesn't do
Hollywood.
that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's Hollywood.
It is.
Yeah.
So you have this scene. This is something that bugs me. You have the scene where the plane is carrying Superman's ship that
Oh.
brought him to Earth,
Yeah.
and they're going to crash into the Black Zero ship and create a singularity and suck the Kryptonians back into the Phantom Zone. You have Amy Adams on there with Dr. Emil Hamilton,
And,
who is a
Law and
comic
Order
book
SVU.
character.
I was going to say, yeah.
who is an established character. I mean, he's practically Superman's doctor.
Yeah.
And Lois manages to stumble out the back of the plane, but Emil
Whoa, whoa,
Hamilton
whoa, whoa.
dies.
Okay, first of all, it's because of Emil Hamilton that bomb went off in the first place, and it's because Lois Lane is a klutzy woman that she survives. That's the only reason. She falls out of the plane!
She stumbles around and falls out. Why couldn't,
Right.
you lost Superman's doctor in the first movie.
But Superman is more likely to save the woman he's eventually going to bone than his doctor.
That's true, especially since he's
You
not
wanted to
saving
build that
anyone
relationship.
else, as you said.
Right.
A phantom drive a day keeps the doctor away.
That is
That's
true.
what Superman always says.
That is true. I do like how sci-fi this movie was, though.
It was really sci-fi.
Yeah.
It was.
It's about time. This is my Superman as far as live action goes. It's by far my favorite.
I agree.
Out of all the Superman movies, it's my favorite one, period. But, yeah, there are things about it I don't like, but there's things about every movie I
There's
don't
things
like.
about
Yeah.
Superman 1 that I don't like, you know,
Yeah.
the original.
The ending?
The let's fly backwards in time, but only far enough to save Lois, not
Yeah.
enough to stop the rocket from exploding in the giant earthquakes and
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, yeah.
I love that just because of...
That's Superman. That's the perfect Superman. How dare you talk bad about him?
Yeah, like, would you rather have Superman who allows millions of people to die before he kills the mass murderer, or would you like Superman who's like, problem solved, I'm gonna go back in time?
Yeah.
Right.
Quick fix, hold up.
Yeah.
This movie, Man of Steel, when he gets crucified, when he falls out of the ship,
Yeah.
it looked exactly like Christopher Reeve. When he's flying up into the World Engine,
Yeah.
looks exactly like
Yeah.
Christopher
You know,
Reeve.
Uncanny.
there's people
CGI'd
online.
it.
There's people online that,
I think it's CGI'd that.
well, they're saying that they CGI'd it.
I'm going to
people-
say no. I think that they
I'm
just
gonna
look
say no.
alike because it happened a lot in the movie. I'm like, man, he looks like Christopher Reeve.
I read an article where they say that officially they're not saying that they CGI'd Christopher Reeve's face on his body. Whether they did or not, who knows? But the thing
First
is,
of all, it would be silly to because they're trying to distance themselves in every
Right,
other way.
right.
from
but it's
the-
just a cute
from
little
the-
nod. But they brought up the point. Christopher Reeve and Henry Cavill were cast to play Superman for the exact same reason. Because they look like Superman.
Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to have some facial similarities. I think he looked like Tom Welling at times, and I'm sure they didn't CGI that. You know.
Mhm.
But he does look a lot like Christopher Reeve during the World Engine scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
One of the things with the movie I liked was all the little nods and references to the comic books. Like, he had to have a key to get into the Fortress of Solitude, much like in Smallville and in the older comics where he had a giant key to get into the
Right.
Fortress of Solitude.
So his head.
I liked those little nods. And, you know, they referenced Mark Waid's, Birthright. They take some of his
They took
lines.
a lot of Birthright to
Yeah.
make this movie.
They took some All-Star Superman for,
Yes.
some of Jarrell's lines. They take, Jeff Johns' Secret Origin. They take a line from it, for sure, the Jonathan Kent line. In the comics, they show him the ship, and he runs out into a cornfield, and he asks his father, "Can't I still be Clark Kent? Can't I be your son?" And he tells him, "You are my son."
That made me
So,
cry
I mean, that's
too.
very simple. Oh, yeah.
Fuck you,
that's-
Kevin Costner. Pulling the heartstrings.
Kevin
Damn
Costner
you,
with
Kevin
your-
Costner,
Yeah.
stay in Waterworld.
Brilliant acting.
Go back
Yeah.
being a Prince of Thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
By the way,
Yeah.
both
Both
of
dads.
Superman's dads are Robin Hood.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Both
true.
of them.
What does that say?
So how could
And
you
they're
go
both
wrong?
rebels, too.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're both breaking laws in the movie. You know, he's taking in illegal kids and hiding them.
Mhm.
That's true. That is very true. His birth father also has massive schizophrenia
True.
from Beautiful Mind. Maybe that wasn't like that was Jor-El's idea. Was like his consciousness.
Yeah.
Was just like like we need a beautiful mind in this movie. Let's put in your consciousness for the fortress.
I just wanted at some point Russell Crowe to just start singing about making
He's
movies,
singing songs and fighting around the world.
taking schools and singing songs and fighting around Krypton.
That's actually the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they had
Come
to
on,
take it.
Tugga,
They didn't
My-
think many people would
my
get
flying bird bug.
Yeah. They're all just
it.
breakdancing.
His name should have been Tugger, the
Mhm.
flying bird bug.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
His dragonfly wings. He calls him something, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that's true.
But I am glad that, you know, even though Zod took the Fortress of Solitude, it somehow survives whenever it crashes into Metropolis, because it's still standing behind him whenever he flips out. So
Wait, what are you talking about?
when Zod takes the Fortress of Solitude and he's all flying around in it, and him and Clark are fighting in it, and they destroy the Matrix birthing chamber,
Yeah.
and he shoots heat vision, and its ship crashes. It doesn't get destroyed with the rest of the ships. You can see it clearly
Oh, really?
behind
Yeah,
Zod
it's
when
still
he's,
there.
when he's
Oh,
flipping out.
I guess I didn't notice that.
But they get to fighting, and shortly after that, and I think one of the most intimidating things in the film is to see Michael Shannon start breaking that, like he flexes,
Clink, clink, clink,
Yeah.
and he
falls
just
off.
starts ripping that armor off. He's like, you know what?
That
I don't
armor
even
was pretty
need
advanced too
Yeah.
for everyone.
Yeah, I know.
know.
I like
Even
all the
Jor-El's
Kryptonian.
war scientist
Yeah,
outfit.
Yeah.
with all the nice garments
Yeah.
and then armor
You can
over.
buy,
Yeah.
just because you're designed to be a scientist doesn't mean you can't go out and buy nice armor.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure they
everybody
have-
wants a nice set of
I'm sure the
armor.
armor store is really popular.
People
on
can buy
Krypton.
Kevlar
Yeah.
gear.
It is, and also
Yeah.
the hat store
That store.
for all the
The council,
The council members,
hats,
yeah.
just
Those
ridiculous.
giant hats.
you know,
yeah.
those look like hats from the comic books that they've
Yeah.
drawn different
Yeah.
times on characters. I
They
mean,
do.
I think they really did a good job
Yeah.
nodding to different.
They went
comic
out of their
book
way
things.
to
But
draw
it's
connections.
yeah, it's its own film though too. But another thing that I really enjoyed was when they start fighting in the construction site. There's a sign that says "accident free for 106
Yeah,
days,"
right, and then he
as
busts
soon
through
as
the
he
sign.
hits it, as soon as he hits it, the 1 and the 6 drop off.
Yeah.
So that's just one of those little things that they got in the movie just for you to pick out. throughout.
Supposedly, like, there's some reference to Blaze Comics for Booster Gold.
Yeah,
and-
it's when Zod is very cat-like running up that building.
What was that?
I know that was so weird.
I
That's
liked it. He's just like
Warrior training, man.
That was so weird to me. Like,
Sabretooth.
They didn't tell you
you're,
that he got.
you're a humanoid. And
I mean,
you
he's
are
just
like,
They put cat genetics in with him too.
must
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
because the cats on Krypton are amazing.
clearly.
they can just run.
They're
forward.
amazing runners, and so
They
they
only
put in
nap
all
for
their
3
soldiers.
hours instead of 14 a day.
Exactly. And he just is
Bounding
clawing
up.
his way up to the
That
top of
was
that building,
so weird.
and Superman is flying down towards him, and you can see the Blaze Comics logo, which is a nod to Booster Gold. They referenced, Wayne, Batman with the satellite.
Yeah.
They did the Blaze Comics, Booster Gold. They did
LexCorp.
Green Lantern
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
Ferris name. Somebody's even saying that they did Aquaman because when the general calls in, he says the word of the day is trident.
Oh.
So, and then also,
somebody said something about Cyborg too.
see, I don't know, I didn't catch it, but
I didn't either.
the Christopher, from SVU,
Maloney.
Yeah.
his call name is Guardian,
Yeah.
and there's Guardian is a superhero from the comics also,
Yeah.
who's connected to Metropolis. There's a lot of nods in
Who's a
there for you to
goofy
pick
hero.
out. Different things are named after people, and I think the post office in Smallville is named after Ezra Small from the show Smallville.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, there's
They
a lot
did
of
reference
references in
Smallville.
Smallville about the TV show Smallville. So it was kind of sad too that Lana Lang was just like a name in passing in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
right.
Lana was there, she
They
saw
mentioned
it
her a few
too.
I would have liked to seen Lana as much as I seen Pete.
Yeah, no
Right.
kidding, right?
Because
But,
Pete
you
is in
can't
a
lot
have
of
them-
Pete.
You can't have them in the same frame though,
Why?
because Pete's so big,
Oh, and
and Lana, I'm sure, was like a stick figure compared to
Yeah.
him.
So, before we wrap it up, I'm just curious, from you guys' standpoint, what villain would you like to see in Man of Steel 2?
I think that Lex. I think we're going to see a lot of Lex.
I would say it's probably going to be very.
I would
Lex
love
heavy.
to see.
I think this was a very physical movie, and so I think the second one is going to be more mental, and it's going to be Lex, and it's going to
Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
the Lex that we've actually wanted in movies the
This
entire time.
This is what I want to see as far as Lex goes. I want to see Lex backing someone in this film. They need to have a villain that can go toe to toe with Superman.
Yeah,
Just because that's what
What
people
about
want to see.
Metallo?
They
or Parasite.
that's fine. Just anyone who they can throw at Superman.
But you
That'd
still
be
want
good
that
for
element of
description.
strategy too. So
Yeah.
that way he does have to.
I want Lex Luthor. Like, I think what you're saying is the guy who's the puppet master behind the scenes.
Right,
Like,
right.
Superman clearly
But-
knows that he's doing stuff, but he
Not
can't
only
touch him
that-
because he's not doing anything illegal.
Right.
Not only that, but I want it to come out in the end that this is totally Lex Luthor, and then I want him to get away with it because that's what Lex Luthor does.
Right.
He,
Exactly.
manipulates the legal system and gets off the hook. I want to see that, and I want
too.
Superman to be so frustrated that he's thinking about snapping this guy's neck, but then he chooses not to because
Right.
he's already got a bad
just so we
image.
can make our way to that.
Yeah,
But I think we should definitely do a podcast just strictly on the sequel because
a lot of people are
that,
saying they want to see Brainiac.
I think that would be good to
to
do.
the sequel. I think that'd be terrible.
Brainiac?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just saying it would be good to do a
Yes.
sequel podcast.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, a lot of people online are saying Brainiac would be great for.
I think it
Man
would
of
be
Steel
too
2.
similar.
It'd be an alien invasion movie after an alien invasion
Right.
movie.
Right.
Which Superman has a lot of alien enemies, but the
He-
films aren't going to go on forever
Yeah.
because they don't like to do that.
You know who I would love to see is like the Scarecrow. You know, like you said, Scarecrow, the Dark Knight was. I would love to see Lobo like that in Man of Steel 2. Like crazy Lobo as a bounty hunter, like coming to try and fight Superman because he just hears.
Right.
Lobo will never be in a Superman movie.
They're
A
trying so hard to make a
live-action
Lobo movie.
I don't think it'll happen.
I would love to see Lobo in.
Oh, I would watch it.
Because I think it'd be awesome. Because, like, stupid biker dude is as strong as Superman and as a bounty hunter, like, has experience. That would be entertaining.
And
It's
funny.
fun to watch.
Like,
yeah, it'd be
yeah.
really funny.
And we don't have funny in this movie, so.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
3
Oh, wow.
times at most.
Anyway, I say we go ahead and wrap this one up for today, folks. Go watch Man of Steel.
Twice.
If you've already seen it. If you're on the fence about the film, go watch it a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or wait for DVD and watch it a second time, but I strongly
Torrent.
recommend watching it twice. We do not endorse illegal activities on this show.
Superman wouldn't torn.
Right, Superman wouldn't torrent.
You'd only snap
Except in
necks.
this film.
That's right.
In this film, he might.
I don't have a choice. I have to torrent this film.
But,
I like to think that Jenny the intern is just torrenting to no end at work.
but anyway, we're gonna wrap it up and check us out next time when we talk about a Man of Steel sequel.
Later.
Peace.
Bye-bye.